When you come from a toxic family, especially if you were the black sheep, the truth teller, or the family scapegoat, your introversion may not only be a personality trait, some of it may be a survival response. In this video, I will explain 5 ways a toxic family can turn you into an introvert. This is based on my personal experience. The first way is through an abnormal upbringing. I want to make something clear. There is no such thing as a perfect family. There are healthy families and toxic families. When there is conflict in healthy families, they resolve it. People are held accountable accordingly. They learn to respect boundaries. They move forward. But in toxic families, this does not happen. Accountability depends on who committed the violation. This allows boundaries to be constantly violated by some family members without any repercussions. It is a system that was set up to serve the narcissistic parent. The family is not focused on the immoral things the narcissistic parent is doing when they are fighting each other. For this system to function properly, there are roles assigned to members of the family by the narcissistic parent. One of those roles is the black sheep or scapegoat role. This role is not an experience that most people go through in their childhood. In fact, in many cases, this is not an experience that your own family members go through. This makes you an outsider within your family and outside your family. Usually this role is reserved for one person because the system works better when the scapegoat has no allies. If 2 people are equally scapegoated and aware of it, they can collaborate. They can challenge the narcissistic parent. So the toxic system often works by isolating one person. Then, when you go out into the world, you discover that most people do not understand what happened to you. They may not understand why you do not talk to your parents. They may not understand why you keep distance from your siblings. They may look at you like you are exaggerating, being dramatic, or holding a grudge. They may assume that whatever happened could be fixed by one conversation, one apology, or one decision to just move on. This is not their fault. They did not go through that experience. Although social media has helped inform the general public, most people still believe that family is automatically safe. So when you come from the opposite experience, you learn not to talk openly in social settings because you already know that the average person may not understand the depth of what you went through. You may still need to function at work, attend events, maintain casual relationships, and appear normal. So you edit yourself. You give short answers. You avoid certain topics. You keep your pain private because you do not want people looking at you like something is wrong with you. Over time, that makes you more reserved. You may start to socialize less because socializing requires too much translation. You start choosing solitude, not always because you dislike people, but because being around people can make you feel unseen, misunderstood, or pressured to pretend. That is the first way a toxic family can make you introverted. They put you through an abnormal experience that most people cannot relate to. The second way is by normalizing mistreatment. When you grow up as the black sheep in a toxic family, you get used to being excluded. In some toxic families, people make decisions around you, about you, or against you, but they do not include you in the conversation. After a while, that kind of treatment becomes normal, and what becomes familiar can later feel strangely comfortable, even when it is unhealthy. If you have not yet awakened to the fact that what you went through was abuse, you may enter the outside world already expecting a lesser role. You may not speak up when something bothers you. You may accept responsibilities that other people avoid. You may minimize disrespect because your nervous system already recognizes that position. That can create problems in friendships, work environments, relationships, and social groups. People test boundaries. That does not always mean they are evil. Sometimes people test boundaries unconsciously. Sometimes they are simply looking out for themselves, or they are trying to gauge what role people are comfortable with. If you are used to being marginalized, you may accept the role nobody else wants. You may become the person who always accommodates, always sacrifices, and always takes the least desirable position. At first, you may think people will eventually see your goodness, or they will notice your patience and your humility. But in many social situations, people do not automatically reward self-abandonment. Most people are focused on their own needs. If you never push back, they may assume you agree. Then, after enough time passes, resentment starts building within you. You begin to feel like nobody sees your value. You begin to feel like people are using you. You begin to feel like every group is the same. But sometimes the deeper issue is that the toxic family trained you to accept mistreatment, and you carried that training into other environments. That realization can be painful because it does not mean other people were always innocent. Some people truly will take advantage of someone who has weak boundaries. Some people are selfish and manipulative. But the healing point is this: you cannot wait for everyone else to recognize your needs before you start acting like your needs are a priority. In a toxic family, you are not allowed to impose yourself in a healthy way. I mean expressing your personality, your needs, your limits, and your interests. In healthy relationships, people negotiate. One person says what they need, another person says what they need, and then both people try to reach some kind of compromise. That is normal. But in a toxic family, especially one controlled by a narcissistic parent, negotiation may not exist. The narcissistic person decides how things will be, and everyone else adjusts. The scapegoat especially learns that expressing a need can lead to conflict. So when you enter normal social situations, you may misread negotiation as danger. You may think, if I speak up, this will become an argument. But in many healthy spaces, speaking up is not a fight. It is how people learn who you are. If you never express yourself, people cannot respect the real you because they do not know the real you. They only see the version of you that was trained to survive. This can lead to social withdrawal. You go into groups, you accept a lesser role, you feel unseen, resentment builds, and then you pull away. You may tell yourself, I do not like people, when the deeper truth may be, I do not yet know how to show up without shrinking. That is the second way a toxic family can make you introverted. It normalizes mistreatment, and unless you become aware of that pattern, you may keep recreating it outside the family until social life begins to feel frustrating and unsafe. The third way is through loss of trust. When you finally wake up to what happened in your family, the emotional impact can be brutal. You may feel like you were duped. You may feel like you were scammed. You may look back at family dynamics and realize that certain things were not accidental. Certain conversations, exclusions, criticisms, comparisons, and manipulations were part of a pattern. That is a hard thing to process because family is supposed to be the place where you are protected. Family is supposed to care about your development. Family is supposed to want the best for you. So when you realize that people were discussing you behind your back, manipulating the narrative, excluding you from important matters, or positioning you as less valuable, it can feel disgusting and cruel. In some toxic families, the narcissistic parent creates a hierarchy. One person is favored, another person is blamed. One sibling is treated as special, another is treated as the problem. Once that hierarchy is created, morality becomes secondary. What is right and wrong matters less than who has favor. If the favored person lies, steals, cheats, or mistreats someone, the family may excuse it. But if the scapegoat makes a small mistake, it becomes evidence of their supposed character defect. That kind of double standard damages your trust in people. The toxic family benefits from keeping attention on the scapegoat. If everyone is focused on what is supposedly wrong with you, they do not have to focus on their behavior and, more importantly, the narcissistic parent's behavior. The scapegoat becomes a shield. Your role protects the image of the person or people causing the most harm, and when you realize that, it changes how you see people. You may start thinking, if my own family could do this to me, what about strangers? If the people who knew me since childhood could betray me, what about coworkers, friends, partners, or people I just met? If family can pretend to care while quietly sabotaging me, how do I know anyone else is safe? That loss of trust can make you withdraw from the world. There is also the issue of appearances. Narcissistic people like to prioritize on how things look versus how they actually are. They may want the family to appear united, loving, successful, or respectable, even when the private reality is completely different. They may give you breadcrumbs of affection here and there, just enough to keep you believing that maybe things are changing, maybe they care, maybe there is still a chance. But the deeper pattern does not change. You needs keep being neglected in crucial moments. That experience can make you skeptical of kindness. When someone is nice to you, you may wonder what they want. When someone compliments you, you may question their motive. When someone invites you somewhere, you may wonder if there is a hidden agenda. Even when people are genuine, your nervous system may not believe it right away because it has been trained by betrayal. This is especially true in the early stages of awakening. When you first realize the scale of what happened, you may see danger everywhere. You may lose trust in humanity for a while. That does not mean you will feel that way forever. As you heal, you can begin to separate your family system from the entire world. You can begin to understand that not everyone is character disturbed. Not everyone is trying to manipulate you. Not everyone is playing the same game your family played. But that takes time. That is the third way a toxic family can make you introverted. It damages your ability to trust, and without trust, socializing can feel like walking into danger. The fourth way is through loss of confidence. When you grow up in a toxic, narcissistic, or dysfunctional family as the scapegoat, you are often over-criticized, blamed, and invalidated. That alone can damage your confidence deeply. And the painful part is that when this is happening, you may believe your family is trying to help you. You may think, these people know me, they raised me, they must have my best interests at heart. So when they criticize you, you take it seriously. When they blame you, you look inward. But in many toxic family systems, the criticism is not really about helping you grow. It is about keeping you in a role. The scapegoat has to appear flawed so the family can justify how they treat that person. The narcissistic parent needs someone to carry the blame. The enablers need a reason to avoid facing the truth. The favored siblings need a reason to believe they are superior. So the family creates a negative story around you. If you hear that long enough, it affects how you move through the world. You may become overly introspective, always asking, what is wrong with me? Self-reflection can be healthy, but in the scapegoat role, it can become excessive. You're not simply trying to grow, you're trying to locate the defect that your family kept insisting was there. You keep looking inward, but the issue was never that you were inherently broken. That self-doubt follows you into social life. You may hesitate to express your opinion. You may avoid leadership roles. You may not show your talents because you are afraid people will criticize them. You may feel uncomfortable receiving attention, even positive attention, because attention in your family was often connected to judgment. When you lack confidence, people may not see your value because you are not showing it. That can make you feel invisible. And when you feel invisible long enough, you may stop trying. You may tell yourself, there is no point going out. There is no point talking. There is no point joining groups. Nobody notices me anyway. But the deeper wound is that your family taught you not to take up space. Healthy confidence is not arrogance. It does not mean dominating people. It means you have enough belief in yourself to participate. You can speak. You can disagree. You can offer your perspective. You can let people see your personality without feeling like you are doing something wrong. A toxic family can rob you of that. It can make you afraid of being seen. It can make you feel like every room is another courtroom and every person is another judge. So you withdraw. You become quiet. You keep your thoughts to yourself. You stay in the background because the background feels safer. That is the fourth way a toxic family can make you introverted. It attacks your confidence until you stop presenting your full self to the world. The fifth way is through hampered personal development. This is one that many people do not talk about enough. When you come from a toxic family, especially as the scapegoat, your development may be delayed. Not because you are lazy or lack intelligence or that you have no talent, but because your energy was spent surviving a system that was working against you. When you are growing up in a healthy environment, the healthy family will usually invest in you in some way. They will encourage your strengths. They will help you develop confidence. They will guide you through school, career decisions, relationships, and adulthood while respecting your interests. They may not be perfect, but they generally want you to progress and be independent. In a toxic family, the scapegoat often receives the opposite. Your strengths may be ignored. Your interests may be dismissed. Your confidence may be undermined. You receive less support than other family members. You are sabotaged directly or indirectly. Then, as an adult, you look around and realize that your peers are moving forward while you are still trying to understand what happened to you. That can create deep shame. You may see people your age getting married, having children, building careers, buying homes, receiving promotions, or simply appearing more stable. Meanwhile, you may still be trying to figure out your identity, your career, your emotional health, your finances, your boundaries, and your direction in life. You may be shifting careers because the path you were on was never truly yours. You may be starting over because your earlier choices were made from survival, not from self-knowledge. Naturally, that can make you withdraw. It can be hard to socialize with people who seem to be in a different stage of life. If your peers are talking about promotions, weddings, children, investments, and long-term plans, while you are still rebuilding yourself from family trauma, you may feel like the odd one out. You may feel embarrassed. You may feel left behind. You may feel like people may be silently judging you, and maybe they aren't even judging you. Sometimes your own shame is interpreting everything as judgment. But sometimes people do look at you differently because they do not understand the invisible weight you have been carrying. They see the delay, but they do not see the sabotage. They see the slow progress, but they do not see the years spent being invalidated, confused, drained, and emotionally attacked. They see where you are, but they do not see what you had to overcome just to get there. That can make social events uncomfortable. You may go to a graduation party, a wedding, a baby shower, or a family-related event and feel like every conversation reminds you of where you are not. People ask what you do, whether you are married, whether you have children, where you live, what your plans are, and you may feel yourself shrinking with every question. You may sense awkwardness. You may pick up on subtle cues because you are hypervigilant. Maybe someone changes their tone. Maybe someone gives you a look. Maybe someone compares you to another person. Maybe nothing obvious happens, but your body still wants to leave. So you make short appearances. You show up, do what you need to do, and then go back to your safe space. You recharge. You work on yourself. You try to recover from the emotional weight of being around people who may never understand the full story. That is not laziness. That is not weakness. That is often a person trying to protect what little energy they have left. The slow progress caused by a toxic family can make you more introverted because social life starts to highlight your wounds. It reminds you of the gap between where you are and where you feel you should have been. It reminds you of the support you did not receive. It reminds you that other people may have had a foundation while you were trying to survive emotional quicksand. I want to be clear. If you relate to this, it does not mean something is wrong with you. It may mean you learn to protect yourself through silence, distance, and observation. That may have helped you survive, but it does not have to define your entire future. As you heal, you can begin to separate healthy solitude from trauma-based isolation. You can learn to enjoy your own company without using isolation as a prison. That process takes time, especially when you spent years being trained to believe that your voice did not matter. So don't be hard on yourself. You did your best. You have a new journey now, one of self-discovery and self-appreciation.